We now return to Let's Play Anno 1800, and this really isn't going to be much of an episode. So I looked at the requirements to get to the next bunch of stuff, and it is too much. You have to get to 500 engineers, or not engineers, investors.
People celebrate
You need to
your
get to
leadership.
500 investors to unlock it. So basically, it acts like another class of housing population without actually being housing population. But it is definitely endgame content, which is extremely disappointing. But basically what it does is unlocks stuff that I guess comes out of the pier stuff, or at least it shows up here. I've got this wrong, yeah. So there'll be a new classification called tourists, and then you can access it from there. And that really sucks. But it is things like hotels, restaurants, clubs, and then obviously the bus stations and whatnot. And then you can build a route along whatever and force people to go to those places. So, that'd be really interesting to see, but I don't... To get to 500 engineers, like, that is a little bit too much for my taste. Let me look at this again. At least for right now. I really... I don't know. This game gets really easy to burn out on, in my opinion, because of, like I said, just the massive amount of stuff in it. If you're on the fence about buying this and you manage to buy like a complete edition or find one of the sale bundles, or whatever, especially now that summer's coming along, you're definitely going to get your money out of it. It is very expensive, so it's a damn good thing. But, I mean, that I feel like a lot of the DLC stuff is just slap-on stuff, to nickel and dime, basically. It suffers a little bit from the same thing that City Skylines suffers from. Especially with Season 3 DLC stuff, where it is not even campaign-oriented, but rather just add-ons. I can't imagine... I'm very glad I got this season for free, because I would be very disappointed if I paid for this. This whole Docklands thing, in particular, reminds me heavily of the Industries DLC in City Skylines. It basically just overcomplicates something without replacing it. And what I mean by that is that, you can build like your repair pier and your other stuff like that here as a part of your harbor, or storage, warehouses, whatnot, but you still have access to all those buildings individually. So really all you're gaining by having this DLC is just that, one, these are smaller buildings, but then you also get like this import-export thing and this loading time wharf bonus, which you could just, alleviate by having a harbor master that you could put items in. Like, you'll notice this harbor master does not. That is a big trade-off. If I had just built a harbor master office, I could then put, some people in it that would give me the bonuses that these buildings themselves do. So, it's mostly cosmetic or just a little bit of
something greater now.
Convenient. Jesus Christ.
I can bestow.
Sure.
The smallest inkling of success is still your inkling of success.
Okay.
New orders?
I'm not really sure what we're going to do from that. A deflagration device, so it puts out fires from all the people rioting? Is that how this...
Keep pushing. Never
Sure. And then I need to deliver it all the way up here. Okay. This is probably not the ship to be putting that
Set
into, then.
sail.
A deflagration device makes me think that it doesn't deflagrate at all. it seems to be something that is going to, in fact... Okay, so this... Ignite the stage. So this is more stuff, I'm guessing.
You can
that
rely on us.
progresses his stuff. We seem to be siding with him here, which is not exactly something I want to be doing at the moment, mind you. Okay, this seems easy enough to finish. Even this DLC, and this was one of the first DLCs, in fact, I think it was the first DLC, the Anarchy stuff, you know, doesn't really do anything. The whole Anarchy thing basically just adds really annoying quests and requirements without really, in my opinion, adding a whole lot that's different. You know, the advertisement for it seemed to imply that, you know, hey, you can go anarchist rebel and change how everything is on your island by putting down, you know, these I don't even know where those are. Decoration things, like the megaphone tower and whatnot you get. And that doesn't seem to be the case at all. Really, all it seems to do is just, like I said, add one more pain-in-the-ass thing that you have to do that complicates something that really doesn't need that. It shouldn't be complicated. You know, it just... I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about DLC content and stuff like that to begin with, but, you know, this stuff just doesn't seem worth the money. And I think, like, I think it is now at a point where it is, the whole game is now in a complete edition. In fact, I think they did that after the second season DLC, and then they decided to release the Season 3 stuff. So
spare a thought for us?
It's still not quite Kiln Keeper. Sure.
Scooped us out of the gutter, you...
You only exist.
Can you put this shit in him right now? Get out. Oh, we're caught.
Coordinates
No?
spotted.
Okay. What the fuck? I also hate how this stuff doesn't trigger. We're here. That's the wrong one. What the fuck? So what's that one then? What the hell? Well, I mean, it's not a clipper, I guess. Oh no, are we meant to... There's two of them, so it's probably going to tell me to go to that one after this.
You must be champing at them. Steady her course.
Yeah, okay, now I see. So we are causing the fires, is what this is about. Okay, well, whatever.
Frigate commencing escort.
Yeah, we're not going to escort that. So, I don't know, I'm on the fence about what we're doing here, too. Because...
You are a mover and a shaker. Coordinates plotted.
What is that going to do? I was hoping that, you know, as we were getting warnings from what's-his-face here, that it would break down into, hey, you know...
You have the courage of your conviction.
You can stay loyal, or you can join the anarchists. And then that might put me at war with what's-his-face here, which we're now building up to 40. Unfortunately, we're not at trading rights. Hopefully that will... I mean, I say hopefully, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, even this is just... What the hell are we doing this for? Okay, well, I was just kind of rambling until that was done, just to kind of pad out the episode here, to be honest. But, yeah, so, you know, final thoughts on all of this stuff so far. Season 3 in particular, since I've already given my thoughts about the game in my previous series, generally, the DLC, the Season Pass DLC for Season 3, I would say give it a pass. And I, you know, I make no agreements when people give me stuff. When developers send me keys for their games and whatnot, I'm all about the brutal truth. Sometimes that's actually had impact on the game itself. SARS and what was it, War Sim in particular, those guys actually at least saw my videos. So that's cool. I have no illusions that Ubisoft is watching everyone who ever plays this game and is going to take any criticism that I have. But the fact that they gave me the key and I'm sort of bad mouthing it would seem at odds. But they are not necessarily sponsors, and therefore I am under no obligations. I'm just going to tell you that it is not. It's not the greatest. It's disappointing, especially for the money that they constantly ask for. You're better off getting this stuff together in like a complete edition bundle as opposed to just buying it. In my opinion, they had when they released the complete edition, that signaled that they were done with the game, and then someone probably made the decision that, oh hell no, we're making way too much money on this. Okay, we need something more. Here we go. You can also kind of see this in the actual cosmetics DLC that they have released, like the Seasons DLC, the amusement park DLC. It's, as far as I can tell, just stuff like this that you can plop down that has no actual impact on the game. And that's fine by itself, because you are not obligated to buy those at all, or any of the DLC. But, when you're just going to offer a season, like it's adding content, like major content to the game, I feel like it is misleading when it doesn't match up with your previous releases. So, Season 1, Season 2 did in fact release content, like the Season 2 in particular, because I think Season 2 includes Land of the Lions, Sunken Treasures. Maybe Sunken Treasures is part of Season 1. Actually, it might be Season 1. Well, anyway, the point is, those DLCs give you full campaigns. I mean, when I did Land of the Lions, I think that was a full 20, 30 episodes that I managed to squeeze out of it, and I didn't even complete it. So, those kinds of DLCs, you're getting something. I cannot see anything in Season 3 that is even close to that. The next one is called High Life, which, as far as I can tell, is more cosmetic stuff, and it looks to be late game stuff. So it's just meant for the people who have completed the game, who are now turning their cities into little cosmetic gardens where they're not really doing it to play the game, but they're just doing it to create their own little city, which is fine. I play games that way myself, but it's just a way to nickel and dime those people to further it along, a la The Sims 4, or, really The Sims 3 too, any of the Sims. But, it's I don't know. Like I say, I can't really fault it in that you don't have to buy it, but the fact that it wraps it up to present it like it is on par with the stuff that has been released, I feel is just a little disingenuous. You're just squeezing pennies out of people at this point without really doing much more to the game. And if they plan on doing a Season 4 and so on, like, I can't even see what they would do. Now, the bus system, adding an actual transportation thing, sounds kind of interesting in its potential, that could add, I should say, like transportation mechanics to Anno. Now, I kind of disagree that you would need to do that, because that's not Anno. That's not what these games are about. But, if they're going to do that, that is another route that they could go. At that point, I feel like they could probably just make another Anno game. Because really, I feel like they've done a pretty good job of padding out everything that this era is meant to portray. It's got the colonization thing going on. It's got the Arctic expedition thing going on. It pretty well feels summed up already, and just these extra things that are not entirely necessary or even really add anything to the game. It's just, I feel like they've run their course. They need to let 1800 go and try again. Try and do something that might actually be meaningful. And I don't know. I do enjoy the fact that this game came back to the formula after what the hell was that one? 2050? No. Because there was 2070 and then there was the next one. Anyway, the one that wasn't an Anno game. that one. I'm glad they've roped it back, and it still feels like an Anno game in this one. And like I said, if you're buying a complete edition of this game at some point, you're going to get your very expensive money's worth out of it. There's a lot of stuff. Some of it good, some of it bad. But don't be afraid that you're not going to have enough to do. As I've constantly complained, there is too much to do in the game, but that ultimately comes down to what do you actually want to do. You don't have to do any of these. You can turn them all off. And I'm not actually sure if I started a game without all these DLCs and turned them back on. I wonder if it would give me the option to add them to the game, kind of like when the tourism DLC started, and I could just mid-game add it. I wonder if you could incrementally add these as you got done. That might be okay, and I feel like their release schedule was kind of built around that. The way that it is, well, this new trend in gaming, seasons of DLC, they expect to release a bunch of content. It feels like, they're going through those cycles so that every step of the way, once someone has completed this and they're like, okay, well now I need to rope these players back in, they'll release another thing that adds a layer that is meant for people who've been playing the game, not people starting a new game. Because, I could see that if I had just been playing as they had been released, then I would just incorporate them as I went. And, I might have a big main city that by the time Sunken Treasures had dropped, I could have been like, oh, good, I can abandon this and basically go start again. But now I've at least got this that could send me materials, and, it wouldn't be as daunting as my series have been playing, just starting up from the beginning. Because doing it this way, where you are starting from scratch, the only way I feel you can play that without just being completely overwhelmed and or annoyed is to not play with NPCs. You just, that alone, the competition part of that is so annoying to keep up with. And I guess you don't have to. I could just let this guy expand and have completely focused on my own little things here, and that would have been my own stress release there to just focus on my own corner. But if you're picking someone, so far he has not been belligerent, although he has tried to buy my islands. If I was playing against a more belligerent AI, I don't see how I could ever keep up. I don't see how you could keep up militarily and also develop your own cities, especially since the AI knows. When it's planning, it knows the minute it hits a certain amount of resource that can then start plopping things down. If you sit and watch islands develop, they just go bam, 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 and there's no way a player can do that on their own. To be, I don't know, maybe there are. Maybe there are build orders and people have managed to min-max this game. I'm sure they have. But I don't feel like it is possible to make the decisions, unless you know the game pretty well beforehand, that could allow you to keep up even with a medium AI. Like if I was playing with 3 medium AIs, I would have been overwhelmed completely. These 2 AIs in particular are pretty darn good, and I would probably just play with them actually, because so far they don't seem very expansionist, unlike Wibbly Wobbly, who seemed to be very expansionist, even though he was a 1-star AI as well. These 2 are friendly and generous. This one in particular loves to give me money, just for no reason. And she doesn't seem to be, this is her main island, too. Doesn't seem to be all that expansive, so I don't know where the hell she's getting the money from. But, yeah. So, the third DLC will drop for Season 3, and I will incorporate that. But I am having questions about whether I want to continue this particular island to incorporate that, because if I do one on my own without, Mr. Anarchy over here and just kind of focus on my own stuff, I'm always conscious when I do Let's Plays and do recording because, I have to have something that happens within 20 or 30 minutes as I ramble on for the last 10 minutes. But usually I'm very conscious about having things happen on screen. So I feel like if I was at my own pace and just willing to, dump in hours of my time casually, maybe I could, recreate a city and get it up to par. And then that way, when I incorporate the next DLC and come back to this to show that off, then I can also show off the tourist stuff. So we'll see about that, I guess. But for now, I think we're done here. It is so daunting to try and make the next level up just to get to 500 so that I can then showcase just a few buses and whatnot. So I guess I'll do that. We'll wait until the next DLC drops to come back. Hopefully by then I'll be able to show off the tourists as well as whatever the High Life has to offer. And then we'll call it good. I don't know if they are planning a Season 4, so I don't know that I'll come back to the series. I honestly thought I was done after Land of the Lions, but, here we are. So, anyway, I will end this one here. Thanks for watching, and whenever that next DLC drops, I will see you then.